Have you ever read the Bible and been disturbed by what you saw? Have you disagreed with what it said? I hope you have. If you haven't disagreed with what you've read, I would wonder if you're only reading the things you like. The Bible is given to us to challenge our thinking, to make us think more like God, to knock the rough edges off of us, and sometimes that's not very enjoyable, but it's absolutely necessary. Let me show you one place where that's happening with me right now. And I want to show it to you from a story that is really well known, one I've preached on a lot of times, one that I really like, but have never really listened to this portion of it before. The story comes from Joshua chapter 1. Now, those of you who know the story of Joshua and know the story of the Israelites will know that for hundreds and hundreds of years, they've been waiting on a promise. God told them that He was going to give them a certain land and that He was going to bless them. And so they wandered around for a long time, waiting for the right time for this to happen. Moses led God's people toward the promised land for most of his life, but then he dies. And it's left to the man named Joshua to lead them into the promised land. These are the words that are given to Joshua, words that I've taught many times, but I want to hear a portion of it that's bothering me today. This is what God says to Joshua as he begins his job, standing on the outside of the promised land, about to go in. Be strong and courageous. Those are the first words of Joshua chapter 1 verse 6. Be strong and courageous. I don't like those words to start with, but we'll carry on. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their forefathers to give them. Verse 7. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may succeed in whatever you do. Do not let this book of law depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. That sounds like a nice promise. God's going to be with them and take care of them and give them success and all those things. And that's the part I've preached before. The part I've ignored, and the part that's bothering me now, is the part where he tells them to be strong and courageous. He tells them that 3 times. And then at the end he says, do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. That bothers me because it tells me that there's going to be a reason for Joshua to be terrified. There's going to be reason for him to not have courage. There's going to be reason for him to be fearful and to wonder if things are going to work out or not. And it sounds like there's lots of opportunity for Joshua to fail. So here's the lesson that I've been thinking about. The promised land is not paradise. God promised them that land. God said right there, I'm going to help you get this land. But it wasn't going to be without struggle. It wasn't going to be without trial. It wasn't just going to be paradise where they sit around in lawn chairs and just watch it happen. They were going to have to fight their way in. They were going to have to go in and take the land. They were going to have to do the things that would be required. God promised it to them, but it wasn't going to be easy. Here's the thing. I like leading by consensus. I like it when people get along. I like it when people think the same way. I like it when others can see each other's perspective. In fact, in the 30 years that I've been in Estevan, there have been more than 600 people who have worshipped with us. I've had 10 different elders in several different groupings of those elders. I've had really conservative people as part of my eldership and those who were not. Same is true of our congregation. And I'm proud to say that I've never had a huge fight that's gone on forever with any of them. We've learned to get along, and I think that's how things ought to be. But it doesn't mean it's been easy. It doesn't mean that it's always been fun. It doesn't mean that it's always just been paradise. And so the reminder that I need to give myself today, and maybe it's one you can benefit from too, is that just because things are difficult doesn't mean that they're wrong. Joshua was heading into a difficult time, but he was on the right path. Sometimes good things just take some effort. And just because it takes some effort doesn't mean you're wrong. Hang on for 1 second. I found a quote the other day that I really like. This guy says, a guy named Saul Alinsky. Don't know who he is, but he said something good. He said, change means movement. And movement means friction. And friction means heat, and heat means conflict. You just can't get a rocket off the ground discreetly and quietly. Sometimes if something's going to happen, it's going to take a push, it's going to take some effort, it's going to take some heat, it's going to take some movement. Here's my encouragement to you today. Get along with each other as much as you can, but don't make it harder on each other for anything that's going on. Be your very best and be your very kindest and get along as much as you can, but just realize that people are going to have different opinions. There's going to be different ways to see things. That doesn't mean anything is wrong, it just means you're working it out. Joshua had to be told, don't be terrified, don't be scared, be strong and courageous, keep going, it's going to take some effort, but you're on the right path. Maybe that's a good reminder for us today too.